Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Viva Film Podcast, the only podcast that can pass the Kobayashi Maru without cheating. My name, it's Anthony, and today I am joined by my illustrious former number one, because he has now graduated to the role of Starfleet captain. He's getting his own ship, ladies and gentlemen. It's Caleb. Caleb, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Captain Caleb. That sounded so stupid.
I thought it sounded great. Captain Caleb, here we
are. I'm here to, what ship would I be captain of? Like, it wouldn't be the Enterprise, but like the USS.
It's up to you. It's up to you, man. What do you want to do?
The Franklin.
The Franklin? You want to?
I don't think I want to do that one, actually. Never mind.
No?
Like, I changed my mind on that one. But I'm happy to be here. I finally have am in the position to be a captain, and hopefully I'm one that gets 7 seasons and some movies after, and not just like maybe a quick one-off episode where I get killed horribly or sent into like a black hole.
One of my favorite things whenever I was watching TNG was hearing all the ship names.
Oh yeah.
And one that always stuck out to me was the USS Potemkin. Because it's from a famous film, and it's also a real ship. And of course, the film is the battleship Potemkin, which was a Soviet-era film about the Potemkin mutiny, which was a real mutiny that happened on a Russian ship called the Potemkin. And that event was used by the Bolsheviks during the revolution as inspiration. So I guess my question for you, Caleb, is when did Star Trek get so political?
It was whenever they started putting women in it, obviously. It was never... But it's great. It's so funny to me because, again, like we've been talking about this like last night, and like I feel like we talk about this every day, actually. Mm-hmm. But like it's like how it's so funny to me when people just completely deny that Star Trek is political, or they try to like write it off as just being like silly sci-fi adventures.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of funny because I feel like the Star Treks we're talking about today are just kind of silly sci-fi adventures.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but no, like you go back and you watch the original series, you watch TNG, Deep Space Nine, especially. Like those are all shows with a message. They are not just silly sci-fi adventures. There's like actual shit going on. So
yeah. But before we get into the Kelvin timeline and everything like that, so what have you been up to since our last episode?
Since our last episode, not much, this past week, though. Well, I guess I've been getting ready for the holidays and, buying presents and planning my New Year's vacation, which I'm looking forward to. But just this past week was a pretty good week for trailers and sneak peeks, Caleb. There was a trailer for Supergirl, the new Supergirl film, which will be coming out summer next year. Caleb, really quickly, what are our thoughts on Supergirl starring Millie Alcock?
It looks so good. I'm stoked. It's the director of I, Tonya, which is a really great movie. If you haven't watched that, you should. And I'm stoked. Like, I'm a big fan of the comic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I was reading that monthly when it came out.
Yes, I was rereading it again recently, and I don't have it near me. It's in my room. It's in my bedroom because I was reading it at night. But yeah, it's a great series and beautiful art by Biliquis Evely, I think is how you pronounce her name. I could be mistaken, but her artwork is beautiful and amazing. Yeah,
I'm really excited. Like ever since Millie Alcock got cast, because I think she's a great actor, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. Like I'm excited to see what happens. Like again, I am. It's because I think that Sasha Calle was also phenomenal as Supergirl.
She's the best part of The Flash.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, and she's a phenomenal actor in general. Like she was she's in this great film I watched at Sundance a couple years ago called In the Summers.
I have not seen that. I'll have to add it to my list.
It's very good, and she's phenomenal in it. And yeah, so and as much as like, and I was like very much had my fingers crossed, hoping that they would keep her whenever they did this whole shift. But also it's not how it worked out, and I am excited to see what Millie Alcock does because I think the movie looks really cool.
Yeah, and you never know. Sasha Calle might return. Maybe in Avengers Endgame. So yeah. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
But related to what we're talking about today, we also got a sneak peek, a 4-minute preview of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which will be premiering on Paramount Plus in a few weeks. Caleb, you watched it. I watched it. What are your initial thoughts? I mean, how are we feeling about this preview here?
So here's the thing: is like, and I think I told you my brief thoughts in text form. That's a weird way to talk, but I think Paul Giamatti looks like he's having a great time, and that's what matters. Like, he was born to be in a Star Trek, and like, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you could easily, like, Paul, if you put Paul Giamatti in Star Trek, he can be anything. You know, he could be a Ferengi, which that sounds lovely. He could be a like, you know, kind of a stuffy Starfleet officer who's like, you guys have got to get it together. You know, that kind of thing. But making him just this weird villain who has a history with Captain Holly Hunter, I think is great. I'm excited about that. I think Holly Hunter being in Star Trek also works really well. I love that Becky Lynch from the WWE is in it, and that she gets to keep her Irish accent because it's like Star Trek. But we can only hope that her last name is O'Brien somehow. But I mean, that may make me a little too much. But, you know, it'd be fun.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. To her having some sort of lineage with Miles O'Brien, our favorite guy. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I was always going to watch this show because I'm a big, you know, Paul Giamatti fan. You and I are both big Paul Giamatti fans. We both love Sideways. Sideways is a fantastic film. Currently out of print. Please do a re-release of that on Blu-ray.
Is it actually? I didn't know that.
It is. Yes, it's out of print. Yeah. And of course, Holly Hunter is wonderful. She's amazing. And so I'm excited to see it just for them. There wasn't that much in this preview that really gave a lot away. Maybe that was intentional. You know, they didn't want to give it away. They wanted to, you know, they wanted there to be some sort of air of mystery, you know. But no, I'm intrigued. I'm going to watch Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and I want it to be good. As I want all things to be good. I want there to be good Star Trek in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm rooting for it, and I will support it upon its release, and then I will make my opinions afterwards, because that's what normal people do. They make their opinions about things after something comes out, not based on a 30-second trailer. So
yeah, no, exactly. Like, but it's funny because what era is it set in?
It's set in the same. It's set like after like the Berman era.
Okay, yeah.
I'm kind of fuzzy on it because I didn't watch Discovery, and I know that it's related to Discovery in some way. Like, I think it takes place after Discovery. So
okay,
yeah. And anybody watching this who knows exactly like the exact star dates when this takes place, please leave a comment below.
Yeah, because you watch
and let us know.
You watch Strange New Worlds because that takes place before. That's Pike, right? It takes place before the original series.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds is Captain Pike, and that takes place like I think like a year or maybe a couple years before TOS. But it seems like where they're going at the end of season 3 is they're going towards a basically the TOS crew. They're slowly putting them together. So yeah, because like this past season they finally got Scotty on board. Yeah, so Scotty is on the crew now along with Uhura.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Uhura's been a part of the crew since season 1 of Strange New Worlds.
Whoa.
Yeah, and yeah, of course Pike is there, and Kirk is also been showing up in more episodes. And
this is crazy. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and yeah, Spock is there. Nurse Chapel is also there.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so it's a real, like, you know, it's a real who's who. I'm still waiting for my girl Yeoman Rand to show up. Where's Janice Rand? That's the only thing I care about, Caleb. The only thing I care about in Star Trek is where is Janice Rand and what is she doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know. I thought it was just Spock was on there with a beard.
No, and the beard I think is like he doesn't have a beard for most of the show. I think it's only like the first episode. It's been so long since I've seen the first episode. But yeah, no, it's Spock, Chapel, Uhura, Scotty. Yeah.
This is crazy. I had no idea.
You should jump on it, dude. It's a good show. It is a good show. It's enjoyable. I wish there were longer seasons, and I wish there was more episodes dedicated to more of the crew members. But
that's really
the
cool.
nature of the streaming world, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's Huh. Yeah, I genuinely didn't know that. That would have been crazy if I just started watching it and was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't.
Who are all these people?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's because I know that Pike is the dude from fucking Inhumans, where he played that Black Bolt.
Yes, and he's great. He's great as Pike. I really love his role as Pike. And I think the guy who plays Spock, I believe Ethan Peck, he's fantastic. Not as good as the original, Leonard Nimoy, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, is he related to Josh Peck? Or is that a coincidence?
I have no idea. I did not look that up. So,
but yeah, and I know that this intro is getting a little long. I know we have 3 movies to talk about, but I did want to say real quick because there were a couple things I wanted to recommend. Is I got to watch the movie Rental Family.
I did as well. Yes.
Yeah, great fucking movie.
Yeah, Rental Family is really good. Brendan Fraser, man, we are in a Brendan Fraser renaissance, if you will.
It'd be cool to see him win an Oscar for like a good movie.
Well, the way the Oscars work is they only give you one, unless you're named Meryl Streep
or Emma Stone,
or Emma Stone, yeah. But Emma Stone deserved it.
Yeah.
No, Meryl Streep is also great as well. She's wonderful. But yeah, Rental Family, very good, very emotional. I did not expect to be crying in the theater, but I was. So
yeah, this is great time at the movies. I also I finished season 3 of Deep Space Nine, which is phenomenal. And I also I played a video game. I am so fucking busy that I never have time to play video games anymore. And I literally at 4 a.m. one morning, I sat down and played as long as I could and then took a nap. And then I played some more the next day. I played this great game, and I'm sure you've heard of it, and I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, I'd be shocked you haven't heard of it. It's called Dispatch. Okay.
Yes, I have heard of it.
And which basically it's in the style of like a Telltale style game where it takes place in like a fictional superhero universe. Aaron Paul's the main character, all this stuff. It's fucking great. Like it's really well written. It's funny. It's advertised as a workplace comedy. It's hilarious. The gameplay elements are good. The story is really solid and good, and it's really cool. I really dug it. And it's the first time in a long time I've wanted to replay a game like immediately after like finishing it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I saw it on the Steam library a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. But since you are suggesting it, I will add it to my wish list, and I will probably buy it sometime next week during the winter sale.
Yeah, because it's very good. If you like superhero shit, and especially if you like Invincible, you will like Dispatch. Like that's what I would compare it to the most. Like it feels like it could be in that universe actually.
Okay, nice.
It's really good. And I know the question everyone is going to ask is, well, Caleb, who did you romance? I'm not going to get into my personal life on the podcast, guys.
Okay, all right. I didn't know there was romancing involved in this.
It is one of the horniest games you will ever play.
Really? Okay. Yes. I mean, I have played Fallout New Vegas. So that game's pretty horny. Sounds good. All right. So we've already got some recommendations going. We got Rental Family. We've got Dispatch. There you go, guys. There's stuff to do over the winter break. Yeah, this is homework. Like, if you want to keep listening to the podcast, you have to be like commenting. Like, I watched this. I played this. We do require that you actually pay attention to the watch list. Unlike film school, which is more of a suggestion list when they pass those out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of great stuff to do out there. Go in and look. I know that we're all under the fucking heel of capitalism, and rent's too high. It's difficult to fucking pay for food and everything like that. But at the end of the day, what helps to distract us more than really great art? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really, really great art and supporting the artists who make stuff that you like. Yeah, and also just be nice to each other. And be nice to each other. Being nice to each other is the real punk rock, Yeah, no, exactly. That's what my old friend Ultraman said. Ultraman? Wait, Ultraman's also in that movie. That joke doesn't work. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, okay. With all that out of the way, let's get into it, Caleb. Let's get into these films that we're talking about. Yeah, let's. The first movie up on the list here is Star Trek 2009. Directed by J.J. Abrams, written by Roberto Orci and Alex
Kurtzman, based on Star Trek, created by Gene Roddenberry, cinematography by Dan Mindell, edited by Marion Brandon and Mary Jo Marquis, starring Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Leonard Nimoy, Eric Bana, Bruce Greenwood, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, John Cho, Anton Yelchin, Ben Cross, Winona Ryder, Chris Hemsworth, Jennifer Morrison, Rachel Nichols, Farin Tahir, Clifton Collins Jr., Jimmy Bennett, Greg Grunberg, Jacob Kogan, Tyler Perry, Osgood Perkins in the same sentence, Majel Barrett, and Will Wheaton. And the synopsis is Star Trek. It's cool now, guys.
Yeah, not for those horrible nerds. It's
yeah, not for those stinky nerds at the stinky Comic-Con.
Yeah, so it's funny because I know that the Weekly Planet, which is a great podcast that you're aware of if you listen to this probably, I know that they always talk about this movie where they talk about how the marketing was so weird because it's mostly just like footage of people after watching it where they're like, well, that's for normal people. That's great. I love this. It's not for those horrible nerds. And it's like, why would you market something like that?
It was a strange time, the late 2000s. I mean, this came out the year after Iron Man, and also the year after The Dark Knight,
and the year after Tropic Thunder,
another classic piece of cinema. I mean, that whole time is really quite something because this is when you had that kind of cultural shift to where nerdy things were starting to become cool. Right? Like comic books, it was no longer like weird to say that who Iron Man is. Yeah. Because now everybody knows who Iron Man is. You have this rock and roll sleek reboot of Star Trek. People, Comic-Con is becoming this big cultural event. And then right in the middle of all of that, we get this Star Trek reboot. And it feels like this is very 2000s, very late 2000s, first Obama term. And, what an interesting era this was. I mean, do you remember where you were when this film came out, Caleb? What were you doing, man?
I remember that I was a child. But I remember it was the first time I really saw anything else. I remember seeing the trailer in front of movies in theaters. And I remember, because I remember the marketing was very look at how hot Zoe Saldana is, look at Spock's getting angry and hitting Kirk, and it was action. It was very action oriented, and then it was Star Trek. It was this thing to kind of really make it seem more like Star Wars and more like a kind of modern action franchise at the time. And I remember that, and then I remember I didn't watch it in theaters or anything like that. I've never seen a Star Trek movie in theaters.
No, really?
Yeah, it was just crazy to think about. And then I remember watching it in 2012 around then. It was on FX. Remember whenever we used to it used to be a big deal when channels got movies and you'd be like, oh, it's the premiere of X-Men Origins Wolverine or something. It's well, fuck, gotta watch that.
Yeah, it used to be a big deal when movies would finally come out at home because streaming and online video was not really a thing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I remember watching it and being hey, this is cool. This is just Star Wars, but I remember thinking that the references were cute because I was oh, that's probably a reference to the TV show. Mm-hmm. But also it was my introduction to Star Trek, which I think we said in the first episode in this series. It's been a minute, but that was my first time I interacted with it. So I was okay, well, this is cool and new, whatever. And then because it wasn't until the pandemic, 8 years later, that I actually became a big fan, and then it wouldn't be until this year that it's one of my favorite things. But it's that was kind of my exposure to it. Is I was just kind of oh, this is cool. It's modern, and I was very much because I was 14 when I watched this for the first time, so I was this is fucking cool, because the old show is probably lame and goofy, and I didn't have an appreciation for that kind of thing. And then so it was just it's just this. Yeah, I was just I enjoyed it and thought it was cool at the time. And it's one of those it's one of those movies where and I'm going to say something insane right now. That until not recently, but when I was younger, I would consider Star Trek 2009 in the same category as Transformers 2007, where I was this is just a good movie that you should throw on whenever you have people around. And I remember thinking that. And then of course now, however many years later, I think Transformers 2007 is a great movie to throw on with people around if you're drunk. And Star Trek 2009, I don't know if I mean, like, I don't know if I throw it on with people. Like, maybe if me and you were, like, having a glass of Malbec, you know, we could, like, kind of enjoy the good parts and make fun of the dumb shit in it. But I don't know. I think it's, but ultimately what I'm saying is my you know, long story short, I think Star Trek 2009 is fine, but I liked it a lot more when I was a kid, for sure.
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of in that same boat that, like, you know, this was my initial introduction to Star Trek. I know I did mention that there were some episodes of, like, TNG that I had caught on TV when I was a child, but I never followed, you know, Star Trek. I never, like, actually, like, watched more episodes, but this was the first time I actually, like, paid attention to a Star Trek thing. And I remember thinking, like, oh wow, this is really good. This is really fun, like, fun, action paced, you know, good time at the movies. And of course, it wasn't until much later, you know, fairly recently, that I've kind of, like, re-examined this. And I feel like this is really, you know, it's Star Trek light, right? It's diet Star Trek for people who maybe don't like Star Trek. And I think that's fine. It's okay not to like Star Trek. It's okay. You know, get out, but it's okay if you don't like it. Just leave. Yeah. That's all I'm asking. You know, ask them nicely but sternly to leave. But no, I think that this, like, because Star Trek was in a funny position, like, in the 2000s, because, you know, the TNG movies fizzled out, and then, you know, you had Voyager and DS9 ended. Enterprise didn't really get a chance to end. Like, I haven't seen Enterprise yet, but, you know, it was cut short, and you kind of had this moment where, like, you know, the status of Star Trek was kind of unknown. Like, what's going to happen to Star Trek? Like, is it going to become one of those series that people just, like, talk about like it used to be a thing? Or can we make it for this new generation, for this new world that we're entering now? And even though this film has a lot of shortcomings, and I think there's a lot of things that, you know, the previous series do better, I do think that, like, this is the Star Trek film that we needed in 2009. Mm-hmm. This is what Star Trek, you know, needed to kind of, like, you know, become a thing again. And it's hard to see, like, where would Star Trek be now if it wasn't for this movie? Would we have Strange New Worlds? Would we have Lower Decks? You know, would we have season 3 of Picard? I don't know, and I don't think so. I don't know where I don't know what would have happened if the Kelvin films were never a thing. So yeah, that's my feeling about it.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what's interesting too is, like, with this film is, like, I do agree with you, is, like, I think that it's, like, you know, it maybe did just need this thing where, like, after Enterprise, because Enterprise ended in what, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, I think it was 2004. Yeah. And
so then it's like you just have these few years where there's, like, no, you know, and then this is the first time since '87 that there's no new Star Trek. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's been almost 20 years I can see. So it's, and the Rick Berman era is done. So then it's like, okay, what do we do moving forward? Like, do we do, like, another series? Do we do that? And then I think just going, like, okay, what if we just did, like, kind of a reboot, which, like, you know, and I understand the idea of doing that, even though I would just prefer, like, doing fully new stuff where you just, like, do a Star Trek movie with a totally different crew that's just, you can set it in any era and just go. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that would rock. But, you know, they decided to do what they did, where, you know, and it's a very safe movie. It reminds me a lot of The Force Awakens, and I'm not just saying that because of who directed it, but where it's, like, you know, it's this very, like, safe, like, you know, which is funny because me and you were just talking about The Force Awakens before this, where, like, The Force Awakens feels so safe, which is why it's funny that it offended so many losers. And, like, so it's like, but then you have, like, Star Trek 2009, where, like, this is just, like, this is very, like, okay, Kirk, but it also, like, it takes people's personalities, where it's like, okay, Kirk is kind of a you know, this devil may care, like, kind of, like, I almost called him a lesbian on accident. I don't know how I almost said that. That was the word that was about to come out, but, like, this kind of ladies' man. And so then in this movie, he's just like you were texting me about the other day, he's a horny teenager, basically.
Yeah, and there's those scenes where, like, he's walking past a beautiful woman and he's, like, craning his neck, like, turning his whole body around just to look at her. And then there's the scene where he harasses Uhura in the bar.
That's bad.
Yeah, and it's fun. You know, it's funny to me because I've been watching a lot of TOS Star Trek recently, and, like, that Kirk fucks.
Yeah,
like, you know, like Shatner Kirk in the TOS era, he fucks, and you can tell. this Kirk, like obviously we see that he does, get in with a nice green lady, but I don't know. He seems like one of those guys that just doesn't shut up about sex.
Yeah.
He's just constantly like, hey man, let's go score some chicks. And that's like not what Kirk is like in the original series.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to be, because he knows he knows he can get it.
So I have a question. So the thing that establishes the Kelvin timeline, right, is that Eric Bana, the actor, not the character, just the actual actor, he went back in time and killed Kirk's dad on the USS Kelvin, which is why it's called the Kelvin timeline. And so then Kirk grows up with a dad, which changes everything. Right, because in the original series, he grows up with him, all this stuff. It's like the reason he joined Starfleet. Do you think that his dad not being around, he didn't teach him to respect women?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Kirk's dad respects women. Hashtag respect all women.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why Kirk acts the way he does. We do get kind of a clue that Kirk's stepdad is not a great guy and beats his stepchildren, which you shouldn't do. You shouldn't beat kids anyways.
Yeah.
But especially you shouldn't beat kids that you don't know. You shouldn't beat kids at all, really.
You shouldn't beat kids that you don't know.
If you know them, it's totally fine. Like, you can beat the shit out of, as long as you've met them and been introduced, then you can beat the shit out of them. But no, don't beat kids. Don't beat your kids. It's not good for them. Anyways, the point is, his stepdad is not a good guy. We get that. Yeah. We get that feeling.
He's voiced by J.J. Abrams' friend.
That's how he is in the credits. Just J.J. Abrams'
friend. He's Greg Grunberg.
Okay, Greg everybody's favorite, Greg Grubberg. So anyways, yes, basically, Kirk didn't grow up with a good father figure. Yeah. And that's why he ends up in these movies.
And his mom is a Cameron from House.
I've never seen House.
You have? Oh, you should. It's good. It's like a meme now.
I've seen clips. Yeah. I've seen clips on the internet.
It's a good show. I mean, it sucks who one of the producers is, but like, it is a good show.
Who's one of the producers?
It's Bryan Singer.
Oh, he keeps coming up.
Get out of here. He's Nobody wants you here.
He's like a ghost. He haunts the Viva Film podcast.
Yeah. The second we got another ghost situation.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
You were saying with Kirk's father figure, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. How do you feel about that setup? That like, there's this, like, the timeline splits at this very important moment because of some time travel hijinks.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I think it works for what they're doing. It's like, now the scene itself, I think it really represents how I feel about this movie perfectly. Mm-hmm. So like the scene itself, it's like, is this moment where, Chris Hemsworth ends up, like, they have a line in, like, I think it's Into Darkness maybe, where they say, your dad was captain of Starship for 12 minutes and saved like 600 lives or something like that. And like in the scene itself, it's great setup. I think Chris Hemsworth, who, by the way, if you've only ever seen Chris Hemsworth play Thor, and he's great as Thor, right? No complaints about that. He's a fucking really underrated actor. Like, watch Furiosa. I didn't know he could do that shit.
He is so good in Furiosa, and Furiosa is a good movie.
It's a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. But like, so Chris Hemsworth in his American accent before, and this is before he was Thor, Thor, and he is doing this really great like performance where he's like, it's this thing where like, this is an actor who he's like, this is the biggest role I've had. I gotta fucking do everything I can to look great here, and he absolutely kills it. Jennifer Morrison does a good job with what she's given. And there's two things about the scene that stand out to me. Number one, there's this really funny moment where they're trying to figure out what to name Kirk, and she's like, "Well, what if we named him Tiberius?" He's like, "No, that's the worst name ever. He goes, "We should call him Jim." And that moment, it's like, it's emotional. It like, there's something to it, and I know it's fan service because it's like, oh, Kirk's getting his first name, but you're like, it's good, and Chris Hemsworth fucking sells it, because he's not gonna ever know this kid, unfortunately. But it's like, it's really beautiful. Actually, in that moment. But the thing about this scene I can't stand is the goddamn fucking CGI eyes alien Dr. Lady. What the fuck was that?
They put an Instagram filter on her face right before they shot. Yeah, that was a little distracting, and that's one thing that I'll say about these Kelvin films. I mean, there's a lot of things to say about them, but I feel like the alien design in these movies are not the best.
In the first two, at least.
In the first two, yeah, they are really good. In number 3, I think number 3 is great, and it is still a travesty that number 3 lost best makeup to Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I told my girlfriend that last night while she was watching it with me, and she started laughing really hard.
It's really funny in hindsight. But anyways, yeah. So the alien designs in this film, and we have alien big eyes lady, and then we have like woman but green, which I know was a thing in the original series.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's because it came out like 50 years before this. Like, we can come up with something else. You know, we can get like a little prosthetic and glue it to her face.
Yeah.
You know, so like, why not? Right?
Yeah.
That's what Star Trek's all about, baby.
Yeah, that's literally what it's all about. If you're thinking like, and that's the thing is like, I don't like that. There's also in the bar scene when Kirk harasses Uhura, there's like a CGI guy with like a long face, and it's like, oh, guy with long face at the bar, but it's like, this looks dumb. Why is this here? And like, I know me saying something in Star Trek looks dumb is hilarious, but here's the thing, right? When something looks dumb in TNG or Deep Space Nine or anything like that, it looks dumb in like a charming way, you know?
No, yeah, absolutely. This isn't charming. This is just kind of silly, and it's especially silly when you take into account that like the budget that they had for this. I mean, they could have gotten so many prosthetics and glued them on so many people's faces.
Yeah, like, no, exactly, and that's what makes it fun. Yeah,
that's what Star Trek. It's supposed to be fun, right? You know, what's not fun is having a drink called the Cardassian Sunrise.
I thought the exact same fucking thing.
I was like, why are we naming drinks after genocidal war criminals?
Like, what are we doing? It's like, did they just look up like species and just go like, they couldn't do like a Bajoran Burberry margarita or something?
Yeah. Give some respect to the Bajorans. I know, like, at this point in the Star Trek universe, like, I don't think, like, the Cardassian War hadn't happened between the Federation. I don't think the Cardassians were, occupying Bajor yet. But still, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that they chose the Cardassians. Like, why not choose the Bajorans?
I feel
or the Romulans. Some Romulan ale. You know?
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
No, but like, it's just like a Cardassian like sunrise. Like, come on, like it's like a tequila sunrise. What would that even be? Like,
I don't know.
I hated that. I think I knew it would bother you too. It bothered the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it bothered me. There's only 2 good Cardassians. It's Garrick and then the Cardassian lady who had the crush on Miles.
Yeah.
The rest of them, get out of here.
Yeah. The Gold Ducat, more like Gold Du Fraud.
Have you gotten to that episode yet where they go after his daughter?
No,
I don't think so. I think that's a season 4 episode.
Oh shit, I'm excited about that.
Okay, it's the whole time I was yelling at the TV. I was like, "Gold Ducat, you fucking bum."
Yeah.
Anyways, so Star Trek, let's talk about the cast for a minute, because we have this new cast, this new roster of actors who are all playing these really iconic roles that we've seen for like the last few months of doing this podcast. What do we think about like Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana? How do we feel that they've captured their characters, their respective counterparts?
Okay, so Chris Pine, I think, is a good casting choice. I think he's a great actor. I think he's underrated, actually. Like, I think he's much better than people even give him credit for. And him as Kirk, it's funny because I remember telling you that I remember liking him more than Shatner. I disagree with that now. I was wrong. But like, it's like, I can't stand how he's written in these first 2. In the third one, he's great. In the first 2, the writing really holds back his performance because he's just this like, it's like they don't understand who Kirk is at all. So he's just like this horny guy who's running around being brash, and that doesn't quite work for me. I think Zachary Quinto as Spock is really good. Not as much in the first two, but in the third one especially, I think he's phenomenal because they know how to fucking write him in that one. In the first one, he can be a little just like they didn't quite get it in the second one. I saw someone say that in the second one they write him like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, and I think that's very accurate.
Yeah.
I think Zoe Saldana as Uhura. I think Zoe Saldana is, when she's not singing about penises and vaginas, I think she's a great actress. I think she could have been a great Uhura. Honestly, she like gets done really dirty in these. It's like it barely matters in all three of them. Unfortunately, it feels like it doesn't matter. And in the first two, especially, there are moments where it feels like the direction is just like you're sad, but look good while you're looking sad, and it's weird. Like I don't know if you noticed that as well. Like there's moments where she'll be sad, but she'll be like trying to like be like really like sexy about it. It's really strange. I can just imagine like J.J. Abrams giving a direction like, all right, in this scene, you're sad, but you're also sexy. Be sexy and sad. Yeah. Be sad sexy. Yeah. I think that Anton Yelchin, rest in peace. He's great as Chekhov. Like, he is phenomenal as Chekhov. I think Anton Yelchin, like, talk about somebody who's, obviously his career was cut short. But I mean, yeah, he's fantastic as Chekhov. He's probably like one of my favorite characters in this film. Oh yeah. There's that scene where they're falling on like towards Vulcan, and he's like, I know how to do that, and he like runs to the transporter room. It's just fucking great. It's just really good, and I think better than most people in these films, I think he captures the essence of the original Chekhov. Because like if you watch person. Like almost, because if you watch the original series, like season 2 when Chekhov shows up, he is like a very, young, energetic guy who's just excited to be there. And I think Anton Yelchin does a really good job of capturing that. Somebody else who I think does a pretty decent job of capturing their characters' likeness and mannerisms is Carl Urban as Bones. Oh my God, how did I not mention him immediately? I just got me in my bones. Like, it's like, you see that Carl Urban is playing Bones, and your first thought is that he's going to be going, "Oi, Kirk, I'm a doctor, not a cunt. What do you expect me to be doing?" But he's just doing a fucking DeForest Kelley impression, and that I love it. I love Carl. He might be my favorite actually of this entire new cat. I love him, and I think I'm attracted to him as well. Carl Urban is a great looking man. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, his performance as Bones is just so fucking good, and I think like between him and Anton, it's really tough figuring out like who does a better job doing their doing that impression of the original characters. Yeah, Carl Urban is fucking great. He's like grumpy and frustrated all the time, and is just like over Kirk and Spock's shit. And it's Bones. And that's Bones. Yeah, that's what Bones is. Bones is over everyone's shit. So yeah, it's great. And then, of course, rounding out the cast, we have John Cho as Sulu. Yeah. And Simon Pegg as Scotty. How do we feel about John Cho as Sulu? I wish he got more to do. Yeah. But he's great. I love John Cho. I think he's very underrated. Great. I'm going to say underrated a lot. I think there's very underrated actors working in these. Mm-hmm. But you know what I really like about John Cho though is, and I was going to text this to you, is when I was watching the first one, in that moment when Kirk's like, "You have any combat experience?" He goes, "Just fencing." Imagine seeing that in a theater where like people start like cheering when he says that, like it's fucking Captain America getting Mjolnir or something. I love that, and I think that John Cho, like there are moments where he has this line delivery and it works fucking great. Like I really like him, but they just don't quite give him nearly enough, which is a bummer, but I do like that a lot. I think it works. Simon Pegg as Scotty is lovely. I think Simon Pegg's super good. And I think he works really well. But I will say it's like the performance is great, but it's one of those where like with Scotty, I'm just like, you know, like maybe you could have made him a little thicker, you know.
you want you like your Scotty to be a little thick?
Yeah, I like my Montgomery Scott to be a thicker guy. I think that would, and he doesn't have a mustache at all. Does he have a mustache in any three of these?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fine. But like, I would have liked him to be a little bit thicker. But I think Simon Pegg does great. I love Simon Pegg.
Yeah. I thought Simon Pegg was really good as well. And yeah, kind of just going back to what you said about John Cho, I agree with you. I think John Cho is a really good actor, but yeah, we just not a lot for him to do in these films. Really, any of them. He's very underutilized. I do like it whenever he gets to be the captain, though. Whenever
that was good, yeah.
Like, yeah, because as we all know, Sulu does eventually become a captain in Starfleet. So I liked that. I liked that they had him step into the captain's chair. It was good.
Yeah. As far as other cast members in this, so there's some really interesting casting in this. So Spock's mom,
yes,
is played by Winona Ryder, and this is like back when she was like, because for people who don't know, for people who just know her from Stranger Things, Winona Ryder was like a really popular actress in the 80s and 90s, and then she stole some clothes one time, and then people acted like she was the devil for a really long time after that. And then she like played Spock's mom, didn't do a lot, and then she got Stranger Things, and now everyone, is like, yeah, fuck yeah, we love Winona Ryder. But this is like still during that era before when people were still being weird about her.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like, so she stole like a pair of pants.
Yeah.
But like if she had, I don't know, like, drugged a child and molested them, then maybe they would have given her an Oscar. I don't know.
Jesus, I mean, yeah.
The whole thing with Winona Ryder, like, first of all, I love Winona. As a kid who grew up watching Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, she was like one of my first crushes.
Oh yeah.
Winona's great. I think the way that people responded to her stealing some jeans is frankly really silly and kind of dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so she stole, just give them back or pay for them, then we can all move on. Like, it's weird that she became like a persona non grata in Hollywood. Meanwhile, you have producers running around who are like blackmailing women into having sex with them. But God forbid a woman have a little tenacity and decide to steal some pants. God damn it. What the fuck?
No, it's crazy. It's like, and I feel like people just don't, like, there's some people who just aren't aware of this. It's like, because, that between period of like, that kind of like Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands era, and then, and Dracula, and then like Stranger Things, where it was like, and it's cool. Like, I think it's fucking cool that she's in this movie.
I think it's cool that she's in this movie too, and I really like her role as Spock's mom. I think that like she's really good in that role. And yes, I'm forgetting the name of the character off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but she's great. And that scene where she dies is like actually really emotional and really did get to me.
Yeah,
and it's a great scene, and I think it does a really good job of motivating the character of Spock. So yeah, and Winona Ryder, her character's name in this film is Amanda Grayson.
Oh,
so yeah.
Any relation to Nightwing?
I don't think so. Oh. No. And then, of course, Ben Cross plays Sarek, who doesn't get a lot to do in this movie.
No,
which is kind of funny because if you watch like TNG or the films, Sarek is kind of important.
Yeah,
he's like been an important part of a lot of Star Trek, but not here, I guess.
Yeah, and it's Spock's brother who's looking for God.
Luckily, we never hear about him.
Yeah.
So, which it should stay like that.
Yeah. Because I the thing that I think this movie does really well is I think some of those emotional beats, like with when Kirk's dad dies or when Spock's mom dies, which also I'm gonna say something really weird is like I have a lot of gripes with this movie and it annoys me in a lot of ways, but this is better than all of the TNG films. I fucking hate saying that, but like that's true, and or at least in my opinion it's true. It's not like my opinion on a film doesn't make it fact, but and I have a lot of gripes. This movie is like, there are a lot of bits of really good writing here. Like the connection between us seeing Kirk's dad die and Spock's mom die is great, because it also like, because a lot of this movie is all about like bringing them together, and I think the way they do this is actually really well done. I think the way this film plays into Spock's human side is very important because, again, it's important to remember that while he is a Vulcan, it's very logical. He does have that human aspect that influences a lot of his actions and decisions. And this movie really focuses on that a lot, which I like. But I have one really big question for you. Do you like Spock and Uhura getting together?
Not really.
I don't either.
Yeah, I feel like it was done just because people expected it to be Kirk and Uhura,
yeah,
because they have that, you know, famous scene where they kiss in the original series. But yeah, I mean the relationship between Spock and Uhura, it's like kind of comes out of nowhere, and I don't feel like there's really a lot of motivation for it. Now, of course, I'm not saying that they should have paired up Uhura with Kirk.
No.
You know, not at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's kind of weird. It's a little weird, and I feel like it's weird whenever they try to pair Spock up with someone. Like, I know that like in Strange New Worlds, they really pushed for the for the Spock and Nurse Chapel relationship. Which a lot of fans got kind of annoyed by because it kept going back and forth. And of course, Spock does have a wife, as we all know, T'Pring, who's on Vulcan right now. Or I guess T'Pring is dead, actually. Never mind.
No.
So, because she was on Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spock went after his mom. Didn't give a shit about T'Pring. Of course, I don't know if T'Pring exists in this timeline. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Spock's relationship with Uhura. It feels very forced, not not very natural. Of course, it does lead to like an important plot point in the third film.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, you take it, you take whatever you're given.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of going off of what I said about Nurse Chapel. Where's Nurse Chapel? I guess like she's not in this movie, or she briefly kind of is in the background when like Bones like talks to her or something off screen. No Nurse Chapel. Janice Rand is nowhere to be seen. Do you care about this as much as I do, Caleb?
Yeah, it's
or
weird.
I mean, to me, it's just strange because you have this film with one woman in the main cast and then just a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And it like I before we started recording, I was talking about like what a sausage fest this movie is. I mean, it would have been nice. It would have been nice if there was more, you know, women in this film, more women, you know, as a part of the crew. Especially because in the original series, there's women all over the goddamn place. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
And in TNG.
It's almost like they're half of the population.
And in Deep Space Nine, like it's like there are a lot of very good female characters in Star Trek, and it's, you know, I guess again these films, it really does feel like they just want to appeal to like men, like the, you know, like boys like 18 to 35 or whatever the fuck. So it's like you gotta, it's like, you know, and again, and I want to clarify, like obviously like Zoe Saldana is like gorgeous, you know, but it's this thing of like, but like, you know, her entire character can't just be that she's like Spock's beautiful girlfriend, you know. And it's just like when Alice Eve in the second movie, her entire character can't just be lady in a bra in her underwear, you know. It's like you have to, like, you know, it's like you got 50% of the world's population's women. Maybe write characters for them. It's not difficult. Like, I don't get what the deal is here with why we're doing that. Like, it's fucking it's dumb. I hate the way that these films treat the female characters. You know, the 2.5 that they have, or 3 maybe, where it's like just like you can just write them, like put them in there. Like, what are we doing? You know, like, why is it just it I don't know, it's so weird. And then like we were talking about earlier, how like half the female characters that show up, it's just so like Kirk can leer at them, and that's weird. Like the only reason like the green woman shows up, Kirk and her have sex, and then she dies like in the next scene after Eric Bana shows up. So speaking of Eric Bana, so Eric Bana is in this movie and he is the villain. Now
he's the bad hombre.
So Eric Bana, for people who might not know him super well, he plays he's the Hulk in the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie, and he's also Monterey Jack in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie that me and you watched together a couple years ago.
Yes, which is a fantastic film.
It is very good. And so now we have him here. He's in a Star Trek, and he is the villain. He's a Romulan, and How do you feel about our buddy Eric Bana? I don't remember his character's name, but he is Eric Bana.
Yeah, he is Eric Bana. I think he's fine. I think it's okay. He's not super memorable, at least not to me. He plays the character Nero.
Oh yeah.
And I've commented on this in the past. I think this is the second time where I will make the comment that I don't like the way the Romulans are portrayed in this film.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Only because I am like a big Romulan fan. I love Romulans. I think they're really cool. Mm-hmm. And that first episode they showed up in TOS is fantastic. It's really great. But yeah, the Romulans in this one, like, I know that they're not the usual Romulans we see usually on TNG. We see, like, you know, the generals and the people who are like on the, you know, spaceships, the starships who are, you know, fighting. And this time it's a mining ship. So it's like more of like, I guess, you know, regular Romulans, right? But yeah, I mean, the Romulans, they show up, they're going after old Spock. And I don't know. I just am not big on this interpretation. And even though Eric Bana is a great actor and he does a great job chewing the scenery, I really love his performance. I just feel like his character is not really that interesting. And despite the fact that they're Romulans, I just kind of don't care. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel?
Well, first of all, it's kind of weird that, like, I feel like they changed how the Romulans look, because the Romulans look a lot like Vulcans in TOS and TNG and normally. And in this, they decided to make them bald with, like, face tattoos.
Yeah. Maybe that was on purpose because maybe this is one of those things where, you know, executives always think that people are stupid. Yeah. So they're like, we can't have two alien races with pointy ears and bowl cuts. We need to shave one of their heads. Yeah. So
it's like, you know,
I guess the Romulans lost that bet.
Yeah. It's funny too, because it's like, the Romulans and Vulcans looking similar works in it makes sense. It's like that. There's a reason for that. It's like,
yes, yeah, there is an actual lore reason they look similar.
Yeah, so it's like it's fucking, I don't know. It's just it's very fucking just dorky, not dorky, but like, or I also would say it's dorky. Like, not that I have an issue with the designs, I just don't like that they're Romulans. That bothers me. And we'll talk about that with the Klingons in the next movie as well. But it's like, I'm just kind of like, okay, like, I get it, new and cool, but like, I don't know, like, and again, I'm not saying you can never change stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very you know, that's not how I think or feel. But it's like I just think this is silly. It's just trying to be like, yeah, these badass Romulans. It's like, but no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna change something, I mean, if you change anything, it should be good. Yeah. So, yeah, any kind of change should be good. But speaking of things that are actually good, Leonard Nimoy is back as old Spock. First of all, I have just come to the conclusion, and I came to this conclusion a while ago, that Spock is just like the best character. Yeah. And I love Spock, and I love Leonard Nimoy. I think he's fantastic. I think he's phenomenal. And having Leonard Nimoy as Spock in this film just brings it to just brings it up to such a degree that I would watch this again just for his performance.
It's, you know, what's crazy is like, so we talked about fan service last week, I believe, a little bit. And the thing that's so crazy is that, like, this is the most fan servicey shit you can do. Like, bringing back an old character. It's the same original Spock. Like, it's, you know, where he's like from the original timeline, knows everything and stuff like that. And you're like, this shouldn't work. Mm-hmm. But the writing for him is the best writing in the entire movie. Leonard Nimoy's performance is the best in the entire fucking movie. And it's actually very heartwarming, because his purpose in the film isn't just to make you go, oh, it's Spock, yeah, buddy. You know, even though that is how I feel when I see him. Because honestly, when I rewatch this movie, I'm just waiting for the Spock scene. I hate to admit that, but I'm just like, when the fuck are we gonna get to goddamn Leonard Nimoy? And it's like, but when he shows up and he like scares away that like monster from Kirk or whatever, and Kirk looks up at him and he goes like, who are you? He's like, I always have been and always shall be your friend. Like, and that is so, should not work, but his performance makes it fucking work. And like his point in the narrative is that like Spock and Kirk the entire movie, you know, they just can't accept that they're in love with each other and they want to fuck. That's the whole problem, is that they're just like yelling at each other and it's like, oh, they just want to kiss so bad. And then Leonard Nimoy is like, you know, you gotta kiss each other. No, but he's like, says to him, he's like, you know, this friendship will define both of you in ways you have yet to realize. You know, and you got to make it work. And it's just like it's just fucking, it's great, and it's really sweet. And then at the end, you have that moment where the two Spocks are talking to each other. And you have maybe the best line in the entire movie, where or Spock Prime, or older Spock, Leonard Nimoy, is talking to Zachary Quinto, and he says to him, he's like, you know, my live long and prosper might be a little self-serving, so I'll just say good luck. And it's just like, that's great. That's good writing. Like, oh my God. You know, with all the Kirk sexually harassing and accidentally grabbing boobs and fucking, you know, other bullshit, it's like, no, there's good shit here. There's like performances and characters where you're like, no, this is actually like good stuff. And it's stuff that I think people could appreciate even if they haven't watched TOS or know who Leonard Nimoy is. And it still works because that's how you do fan service. It has to work for people who don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah. I mean, we're not against fan service. We're just against bad fan service. Like you can have good fan service.
Yeah.
You know, it does exist. But yeah, I mean, Leonard Nimoy's scenes in this film are just fucking great, and I love them, and they're great.
Yeah,
wonderful. Anything else we want to touch on before we move on to our next film, the middle child, if you would?
Oh geez, this would be a long episode. I just saw the runtime. But I was a couple quick things. Do you like the red shirt dying scene? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's always fun when a red shirt dies.
No, it's cute. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm trying to replay the whole movie in my head. Kirk fucking sucks in this. He's like, oh, I know. No, he's just, not that Chris Pine sucks, but the character is horrifically annoying. What do you feel about the uniforms in this? Like the updated, like weirdly modernized uniforms?
So this was something I was thinking about a lot, is when they try to modernize Star Trek, and that's kind of like become the thing now. Even like the Paramount Plus Star Trek, it's all like sleek and shiny and modern. And I mean, I think really it just comes down to personal preference, but I prefer it when the bridge of a starship looks like a living room.
Yeah,
you know,
I do too.
I prefer it when there's carpeting on the bridge, you know?
Yeah.
And I like it when it looks like the crew is just wearing like wool sweaters that like their grandparents made them.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And I like that in the original series, they're all just like wearing like these t-shirts that have really shiny little insignias sewn on them.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's like, I get why they were doing this, because, you know, they didn't think that modern fans would accept, or modern audiences would accept, you know, a starship that looks homely, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I prefer it. I prefer, you know, that kind of, you know, the campy aspects of Star Trek. I like when Star Trek is campy. I don't like it when Star Trek is, you know, tries to be like super serious and super dark, especially, which we're going to get into in the next film. We're going to get into the darkness.
Oh my God.
But anyways, how do you feel about the updated designs?
I don't like them. I agree with what you're saying. And I think in Beyond, they fixed them. Genuinely, those look great. Mm-hmm. But in these first two, where they look like basketball material, like they look like the Andrew Garfield, like the first Spider-Man costume almost.
Yeah, they do, huh?
And this is very controversial, and I know my friend Cameron will get mad at me for saying this, but I hate the first Amazing Spider-Man costume. The second one's perfectly fine, but that first one with the Oakley looking lenses, like, no.
Yeah.
Nah, absolutely not.
I was not a big fan of that one either.
Yeah, but I prefer my Star Trek to be a little more like, I can't say it can't be a little brighter, you know, but like I think I do want it to be the uniforms, I think, should feel a little more, should have that kind of like older mentality of just like it being like, yeah, just throw a sweater on them, who cares? Because that's like what the fucking they would have said back then, and I think that's a really important approach. Not that you shouldn't care, but like just to be like, yeah, this is fine. Like, you know, I think it's okay. It makes it feel like Star Trek. It makes it feel fun. It makes it feel vintage. It's cool.
Yeah, and one of my favorite outfits from TNG was whenever Jean-Luc would wear his little jacket.
Oh, I love that. You know, I love that.
I love when he's got the little leather jacket on. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
To Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah. Oh, this is me reading it. Oh, fuck. Let me just pull that up. Will we leave this in the episode? Who knows? Okay. Star Trek Into Darkness, which everybody 13 years ago when this came out thought it was hilarious to call this Star Trek Into Darkness. Directed by J.J. Abrams, written by Roberto Orci, Alex Kurtzman, Damon Lindelof, based on Star Trek created by Gene Roddenberry, cinematography by Dan Mendel, edited by Marianne Brandon and Mary Jo Marquet, starring Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Leonard Nimoy, Bruce Green, Bruce Greenwood, not Bruce Green, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, John Cho, Anton Yelchin, Benedict Cumberbatch, Peter Weller, Alice Eve, Noel Clark, Nazneen Contractor, Amanda Foreman, Jay Scully, Sean Blakemore, Nick E. Terabay, Deep Roy, Anjini Tanisha Ashar, Nolan North, Kevin Michael Richardson, Matthew Wood, Fred Tatasciore, and Bill Hader. And the synopsis is it's Wrath of Khan. Guess what? Wrath of Khan. Guess what?
Guess what? Wrath of Khan. I can't believe Bruce Green was in this. That's incredible.
Yeah, and he was like throwing his poop at people and stuff like that.
I'll never forget where I was when I found out that Bruce Green had been on Attack of the Show.
Yeah.
Like I completely flipped my shit. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? And I spent that night on YouTube going back and like rewatching old clips of Attack of the Show and trying to find him. And yeah, it was I had no idea he was in this one too. Wow.
Yeah.
What a multi-talented guy.
Yeah, I mean, he would be great in a Star Trek, wouldn't he?
He really would be. Yeah. Let's get all the inside gaming guys back together.
Not all of them.
Start. A couple of them we'll forget to invite. Yeah, Star Trek Into Darkness, into the Conniverse.
Okay, so how do we? Here's the thing, right? This movie, I think you like it a little bit more than I do.
I like sections of it. I do not like the opening scene. The opening scene pisses me off.
Let's start. Let's start there. That's where we'll start.
I don't like the ending. I don't like the ending either. But yeah, the opening scene.
Okay.
Which is just
Star Wars. Bad Star Wars.
Bad. It's just kind of bad. It's just kind of bad. And I don't like to be negative on this podcast, but it's probably my least favorite scene in this film is the opening scene where they're like running away from the volcano. Yeah.
So a lot wrong here. First of all, that's not, the Prime Directive. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Why is the Enterprise underwater? Why is Spock just hanging out in a volcano that's about to explode? Why? I know he's from the planet Vulcan, but that doesn't make him Hephaestus. Mythology joke. Haha, you got him. And
cheers.
I like your Snoopy mug, by the way. I'm sorry, I didn't comment on that.
Thank you. Yeah, Snoopy.
And our good friend Charlie Brown as well. But
good old Charlie Brown
is so you got that. You got this. Kirk stole a religious item from the indigenous people of this planet. And he's like, oh, they were bound to it. I don't know. I just ran away with it. Which is like, what the fuck are you doing? And then in my favorite moment, and by favorite I of course mean the dumbest shit I've ever seen, a big monster approaches Kirk and is like, rare, and Kirk shoots and kills it like he's a Star Wars character seeing a big monster, and then it's like, oh, that was our ride.
Yeah. I don't like I don't like the way that they're portraying this indigenous tribe. It just comes off as really like very, very reductive, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not a big fan of it. And this whole thing about the Prime Directive. Now, of course, this is an ongoing kind of joke throughout Star Trek, is like they have this Prime Directive that they're always breaking, right? But here's the thing, right? So in TNG, they do break the Prime Directive a couple times.
Yeah.
But when they do, it is usually preceded by a moment, and I've said this before, my favorite moments in Star Trek is when everybody sits down at a table and talks about stuff.
Yeah.
They always have that moment where they sit down and they talk about like, what are the pros and cons of interfering here? Like, should we do this? Should we save this civilization from extinction? Because this has happened before in Star Trek. This has been on multiple episodes of Star Trek. And we always get that moment, and we always get that, and there's usually some reason or some, important thing that, like, well, we need to save them. Otherwise, like, they won't, they're on the cusp of developing warp drive technology. And, if we save them now, they can become, members of the Federation later or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But we don't get that here. Here, it just throws you right into, they've already violated the Prime Directive by interfering with the extinction of this group of people. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't interfere. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like, they're already down there. They're running around like a bunch of idiots, with like again, it's like, I feel like Star Trek needs to be smarter than this. I feel like the characters in Star Trek need to be smarter than this.
Yeah.
And they're just running around like idiots, like morons. And then you have like Spock goes into the volcano and he does his volcano shit and he's getting ready to die and then he doesn't. And then he gets like, there's like this screaming match between him and Kirk, and Spock is like, you nearly violated the Prime Directive. It's like, you already did that.
Yeah.
Like, you've already violated the Prime Directive by you being here. And it just, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. The Enterprise being underwater is stupid. Like, why were you not just in space, like, all the time, like every time, and of course then it ends with this tribe, this indigenous community who are now going to worship the Enterprise. And it's supposed to be like funny, like, isn't that silly? And it's not. It's just stupid. I think it's stupid. This is a stupid opening.
Yeah. It's probably the worst scene, other than like Kirk harassing Uhura, which we keep circling back to. He grabs her boobs. Like, I know it's played off as a joke, and he like falls under, but he grabs. It's insane. But like that scene and this scene, they come together. I'm doing a lot of this in this podcast. Us doing video is probably a mistake because it's going to reveal how insane I look when I talk. But like this opening scene fucking sucks. It's like a person who's only watched Indiana Jones and Star Wars' idea of what Star Trek is.
It definitely has some Indiana Jones vibes, because like they're running through the jungle with this like ancient artifact, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, this is just Indiana Jones. Like, what's going on here, guys? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't care for that very much. And then we get into kind of the plot of this movie, which is the Benedict Cumberbatch. He tricks Mickey from Doctor Who into, or he blackmails him into committing terrorism. And that kind of sets everything in this film in motion. And so, Anthony, this film is essentially a remake of Wrath of Khan. So
more or less.
And so it's basically, what am I trying to say here? How do you feel about Benedict Cumberbatch? He's stepping into this very iconic role as Khan, and how do you feel about that? What do you think about this? About fucking Doctor Strange showing up and doing a Khan?
So here's the thing. I love Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
I think he's a great actor. I really like him as Doctor Strange. I think he's very talented. And I'm saying all of this because I'm going to get to the point where I say that he is no Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
He's not. And this film does something that a lot of movies in big franchises like this do, where they make a bet that you already know what this character is. You already know who this character is, so we don't need to explain it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you've seen Star Trek before. You know Khan. You know why he's scary. Here's Khan. But this isn't Khan. This is some white guy. Like, I'm sorry. And he like the reason why Khan works so well in the original films is because like Space Seed is one of the best episodes of Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And Ricardo Montalban is just a fantastic character actor. And we get that opening scene of him on the desert planet in Wrath of Khan, where he tortures Chekhov and the other guy. And, it's like, you get it. You understand like how villainous he is and how fucking like he is determined. He wants revenge, because he knows Kirk. He knows these people, right? He has a history with these people because they left him on this planet to fend for, for themselves.
Yeah.
And in this film, it's just some guy who shows up. It's like he has no history with this crew. He hasn't met them before. He doesn't have that same established, character. And it comes off as cheap, and I don't particularly care for it. And I wish they would have chosen a different villain. So
yeah, it's like, because like the thing is, like, this movie would work a lot better if it was just Benedict Cumberbatch as like just some guy. Like, because that's what he feels like. So it's like, just do that. But then having this whole scene where he's like, Khan. And then it's also like, he just like, you might know me. Or like, that reveal is insane because it's only for the audience. Like, Kirk and Spock don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, they don't know who Khan is.
Yeah, and then...
Yeah, they've never met him.
And then it leads to... and I love Leonard Nimoy, and he's great in this. And it's his last film role. But like, whenever he shows up in this one, when they Skype him... And they're like, hey, you know about Khan? He goes, well, we did face Khan. It's like, okay, I know. I have seen that movie. In the show, I understand. So it's like, it's really funny. And like, it's just weird. And like, it serves no purpose. And if you're going to have Khan, first of all, he wouldn't be white. Like, he would still have existed already. So he would still be like you couldn't cast like Benicio del Toro. Was he busy? Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, obviously I think Sherlock at the time was really popular, so I think that's why they got him.
Yeah. And look, if you only know Benedict Cumberbatch from Sherlock, I really do encourage you to watch Good Stuff. But like, because Cumberbatch is a great actor and that show exists. And but like, it's just such a this is also the era of like British villain who is played by like a really talented actor whose plan was to get caught.
Right.
So he's like, you got to do that. And that was, I find this film, so the Star Trek 2009 is kind of like, this kind of like, well, this ain't your daddy's Star Trek, let me tell you. It's like this Star Trek for the cool normal people. And then Star Trek Into Darkness is like, well, now that we got the normal people, you nerds want to see Khan. And it's like, what? And then,
but this isn't Khan.
Yeah, this is just it's really, and then even like his plan, like, oh, they got people in torpedoes and stuff. It's like, okay, but like I don't know. It's just it feels weird. And then you don't have this like the rivalry ingrained in there between Khan and Kirk.
Yeah,
so that
exactly,
that doesn't quite work. And like I do think it's kind of cute that they do the death fake out with Spock like they do in Wrath of Khan. So you think that they're gonna kill him off at the end of this movie. And they don't, but like, I don't know. This movie's hard to talk about because I think it sucks. Like, okay. Unfortunately, like, and I don't like, again, I don't want to be negative on here either, but like, it's just, I don't think it's very good. And it's very like bland. Like, it's almost 2 hours long, or it might be 2 hours long, but it always feels like it should be almost over. Like, I found myself checking the time a lot, being like, wow, is this still going?
Yeah, and I think one of the other problems that you have is when you're making a film like this that is clearly trying to kind of take the place of another really classic, well-known movie.
Yeah,
you better be really fucking good.
Yeah.
You better be on the same level, because if you're not, then like either you're going to be completely forgotten about, or you will only ever be compared to that other film. And I think in this case, it's like that they really fell short of that. Because it's like, if someone came up to me and said, hey, do you want to watch Star Trek Wrath of Khan, or do you want to watch Star Trek Into Darkness? It's like Wrath of Khan every day.
Yeah.
Like this is really a pale imitation of what is the best Star Trek film. And I think that's why it doesn't work. And honestly, like the part that I enjoy is when they go to Kronos, all the way up until when Peter Weller dies.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert, RoboCop is in this film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Peter Weller is great. I feel like he just should have been the villain.
Yeah. Not as
he
Khan,
should have been the main bad. No, Khan it ends up being like the main bad guy, but like Peter Weller should have been like the main bad guy.
He's so good.
He's great in this, and but like when they go to Kronos to when Peter Weller dies, because honestly I had like just forgotten that Benedict Cumberbatch was supposed to be Khan.
Oh yeah,
you know, like he really does come off as like some guy, and then of course when the movie, you know, when we get to the end where then they're like chasing each other through San Francisco, then that's when I'm like, okay, this is not good anymore. This is not enjoying this. Which, by the way, the Starfleet headquarters scenes, those are filmed at the Getty Art Museum, which is here in LA.
I thought that looked familiar.
Yes, yeah. I've been there numerous times. Free admission. You just have to pay $20 for parking, or you can take the bus. We're not sponsored by the Getty, but we do think that they're a really good art museum.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to talk about this film? I mean, we have Alice Eve, who is playing Carol Marcus, who of course ends up being a very important person in Kirk's life. She is who he has his son with. Yeah. And so obviously because she is such an important character, she gets introduced into this film and then is forgotten about in the next. What do we think about Alice Eve as Carol Marcus?
Well, first of all, Alice Eve is a very underrated actor. I like her a lot, actually. She's in a great episode of Black Mirror, and Nosedive with Bryce Dallas Howard, and she's in the Iron Fist TV show, which I know, but the second season is actually pretty decent, and she plays Typhoid Mary in it. Typhoid Mary, not Typhoid Married. She plays her, and she's phenomenal in that show. I remember really liking her. So, and I was also at Comic-Con. I was at the Iron Fist panel, and she was there. So I've actually seen Alice Eve speak live, and she's very cool. That is so much fun. That reminds me of when I was at Comic-Con and I saw Madeline Petch live, and they talked about Strangers Chapter 2. Oh yeah,
remember Strangers Chapter 2? Everybody,
I haven't watched it yet, actually.
You haven't, neither have I.
Yeah, but
no, and according to the box office, neither is anyone else.
Oh, so, we saw the Chapter 1 together.
We did. Why would you waste my time?
Yeah, we watched the film, and then afterwards, to be fair, I invited you and I paid for your ticket, so you didn't have to. But then afterwards, you were like, "Why would you waste my time?"
And I remember a really funny moment before the movie was I kept trying to get you to take a picture in front of the Batman statue at the AMC Burbank 16. And for whatever reason, you did not want to take a picture in front of the Batman statue.
Wait, that was for Longlegs.
Oh, was that for Longlegs? I thought it was for Strangers Chapter 1.
We saw at the Grove.
Oh, I'm getting these films mixed up.
Yeah, but I do agree. Yeah,
I thought we watched Strangers at the AMC Burbank.
No, it was at the Grove. It was a packed house, remember? And there was like a bunch of sailors.
Oh yeah, there was.
Yeah,
there was a bunch of sailors in there. Yeah,
yeah, and like the Batman Burbank statue, which I still have those photos that you took of me on my phone, where I look like Kevin Smith. I'm just making like I'm doing that thing I do sometimes, and it was very goofy.
This is the second week in a row that Kevin Smith has been mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah, it's called we're setting things up.
Yeah, where the foreshadowing is a narrative device.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else to say about Into Darkness? Because it seems like we're getting. Yeah. Usually, when we start to get sidetracked, it means that we don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah. So this is what I have to say. It's like Alice Eve. I think she's great. It's a bummer that they were just like, yeah, I need to get naked, honey. That's weird. That's her whole character. Especially since she's playing Carol Marcus, and I think they tried to do a little bit more with her at the end, like with her dad, Peter Weller, but that was kind of. I don't know, didn't really work for me, brother. And then I think killing off Pike was interesting, I guess. Like that kind of works. But I do have.
I was thinking they were going to go the opposite way of like he's going to show up in a wheelchair or one of those robotic. Yeah. The thing because that's his character in TOS is that he he's in a wheelchair or he's in a. Like a Professor X thing that they use.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And so I thought that was okay. But then I will say is one thing is, so this film tries to recreate Spock's death, but they do it with Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kirk, Bones figures out that Khan has super blood.
Yeah.
And then he puts it inside of Kirk. And then Kirk gets to be alive again. So they get to do all of the emotional stuff that they did in Wrath of Khan, but without the weird bit where in like the next movie they just bring it back. So how do you feel about them doing the swap? Obviously, I think we can both agree that killing a character off and bringing them back 20 minutes later is bad. But like, because in my opinion, I think if they had just killed Kirk off here, it because if you're gonna do this new timeline, do cool weird shit. If they just killed Kirk off, I would have respected the hell out of this movie. I think that would have been really interesting. Like, I like Chris Pine, and he wouldn't have gotten the chance to be so great and beyond if he'd been killed off. But I think that narratively, if you're gonna do that, just do it. Commit to it.
Yeah, commit to it. I don't think they were ever gonna kill off Kirk, because one thing about, you know, and I don't mean to shit on JJ all the damn time. I just have opinions about him and his style of filmmaking. But like, you know, JJ in his movies, he doesn't take a lot of risks.
Yeah.
And killing Kirk is a very risky thing to do. And yeah, that was never going to happen. Not with JJ at the helm.
Yeah. So there is that. Yeah. I don't. You know, honestly, Into Darkness is just kind of that. I don't really. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say about it. Honestly, I think we're.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. I was going to point out that like Into Darkness is trying really hard to be the Dark Knight.
It really is.
And nowhere is that more evident than in the poster design.
Yep.
Because the poster design for Star Trek Into Darkness is it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's standing in front of this destroyed building that's like in rubble, and there's a hole in the building that looks like the Starfleet insignia. And then you compare that to the Dark Knight poster, which is Batman standing in front of a destroyed building, rubble, and there's a hole in the building that looks like the bat symbol. And it's like, wow, you guys really, you're not shy about this. You're like, yes, we want to be the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to be the Dark Knight. We want to be Wrath of Khan. And instead, we're Into Darkness. Yeah.
But, and the thing that they don't understand about what makes the Dark Knight work isn't that, you know, it isn't just that the Dark Knight is trying to be the Dark Knight itself. It's also trying to be heat.
It's trying to be heat, and it does a pretty good job.
Yeah. So there's also that to take into account. I would love a Star Trek movie based on heat. As a side note.
Yeah, I would love a Star Trek movie based on any Michael Mann film.
Yeah.
They should let Michael Mann direct a Star Trek movie. How about that?
That'd be sick.
That'd be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I left a bit out that I need to do real quick. We can edit that part out. I forgot. I had a really funny thing prepared, and I need to find it real quick. This is very natural. So I forgot to mention. So the Klingons in Into Darkness.
Yes.
They show up with their Uruk-hai helmets from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I know you're wondering, like, you know, because this Klingon show up for 2 seconds just for a little bit of fan service. You know, it kind of fits in the story, but you know, it's fine. But you know, I did say when I saw them, you know, the thing that they would expect me to say, which is Hegvash Thinkan Pune.
What does that mean?
Oh shit, those are Klingons.
Is that how you say oh shit, those are Klingons?
Yeah, in Klingon.
You looked that up?
I did, yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
Listen, all I want to know is where's Kalar? Is Kalar here? She hasn't been born yet, right?
I don't think so. Where is Kalar? Is she safe? Is she all right?
Please, where's Kalar? Justice for Kalar. Anyways, moving on to Star Trek Beyond, directed by Justin Lin, written by Simon Pegg and Doug Young, with some uncredited writers Patrick McKay, Roberto Orci, and John D. Payne, based on Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry, cinematography by Stephen F. Winden, edited by Greg Diaria, Dylan Highsmith, Kelly Matsumoto, and Stephen Sprung, starring the gorgeous, the illustrious, the beautiful Sophia Boutella. There's also some other people in this film too, so we'll give them a shout out. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, John Cho, Anton Yelchin, Idris Elba, also beautiful, Joe Taslim, Deep Roy, Melissa Roxburgh, Danny Pudi, Kim Cole, Shore Agdashlu, Greg Grunberg, Shea Wiggum, and Jeff Bezos ? What is that?
Oh, I just didn't realize he was in it. And when I saw that, I was like, Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos is in this?
Yeah, he's like a Starfleet official for like 2 seconds.
Why doesn't he play a Ferengi?
I don't know what that noise I just made was, but yeah, that's a good question.
I feel like any time that some billionaire wants to be in a Star Trek film, just like, okay, you get to be in this, but you're a Ferengi and you have no say in it.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
You know, Star Trek Beyond. I like this one.
I do too.
I like it. It's fun. Why does this one work, in my opinion, better than the first two? Well, is it just that it has this adventure that they go on and it just throws you into it, and it's not trying to be like a remake of anything. It's not trying to be like Wrath of Khan. It's just kind of its own thing, and it doesn't feel the need to have to recapture some essence of a previous film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. But no, but it's like, so here's the thing, right? Is when I was watching Star Trek Beyond, is like I love watching it. Did you see this in theaters at the time, by the way?
I did. Yeah. Yes, I saw it in theaters, and I have the IMAX poster in my closet that I got from Regal.
Yeah.
And I was gonna try and figure out how to hang it up somewhere. But the thing about IMAX posters is that they're really fucking huge.
Yeah. And
I literally have nowhere to put it, so it's just rolled up in my closet. But I love that poster; it's beautiful.
Yeah, and so here's the thing with Star Trek Beyond is immediately, like, whenever, because I remember watching this around when it came out, and being like, this is really good, I like this. And I remember watching it during the pandemic and being like, this is great, I fucking love this movie. And then watching it again now, it was crazy because after watching it so close to like 2009 and Into Darkness, especially with like how much Star Trek I've been watching this year, is like just sitting there where you open and it's like, you get thrust into this adventure where like, Kirk is trying to like, talk to these aliens, where the lead alien is voiced dutifully by Shea Wiggum, so that's great. And then you get this, then you get this great kind of speech where like it's Kirk talking about like how they're 3 years into their 5-year mission and he's exhausted, like he's burnt the fuck out on adventuring. Yeah, that is exactly the thing that these movies have been missing, because you have this like young plucky Kirk, and now he's more in line with a lot of the Shatner Kirks in the movies, where a lot of his arcs are like he's going through changes in his life, whereas if he's like, oh, I don't have a family bones or something like that. And so this, he's been doing this adventuring, but he's not like a kid anymore. He's not like the plucky. He's like just kind of like burnt out and exhausted, and he's been he's been around the same people for 3 years, and they're just meeting these new civilizations, and sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't, and it's just like wearing on him. And that's a great place to start. Like it's almost like that's what these always should have been, or like just because you can watch this without watching any of the other ones.
Yeah, which I feel like is a great strength of like the TOS era and even the TNG era, is that you can just like jump right into them and enjoy a good story. And one thing that this Kirk has that I feel like the Kirk in the first two films doesn't really have, and it's kind of what bothers me, is that this Kirk has confidence.
Yeah, that's true.
He has confidence. He collects himself very well. I feel like the Kirk in the first two films is constantly on the verge of like having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like he's always just like yelling and really freaking out. And I feel like this Kirk, like he's been around the block. Like he knows what the fuck is going on. And that's what I really like about Shatner's Kirk, especially in the show, is that he is very confident. He's cool as a cucumber. He gets emotional. And he does, he does get pissed off at some silly aliens who are doing some stupid shit. And, he always cares about his crew, but he is confident, and he believes in himself, and he trusts his crew. And I feel like in this film, I get that. I get that Kirk believes in his crew, he trusts them, and, he is there for them. And I think that this is, in my opinion, I think this is the best interpretation of Kirk in this in the Kelvin timeline.
I agree 100%. Where it's like, and it's a bummer that like this is the only movie we get and are gonna get of this version of Kirk. Because like I love him. I think he's phenomenal. And I also love the blue leather jacket they give him. There's something about a leather jacket where I'm just like, I don't know. And then it's also this thing where I'm just like, man, I'm just attracted to like all the men in this movie. It's like there's got some handsome boys here.
They got some good looking guys.
Yeah, like you got like Chris Pine is looking great. Carl Urban's looking great. It's good. We're eating well, and it's and it's and I think another thing that this film does so well is like Spock is written perfectly in this. It's like, holy shit, that's how you write him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Spock is finally Spock.
Yeah, where he, and it's like where it's like he's like the moment where him and Bones, where he's been like him and Bones crash. He's got like the bit of that, like you got that shit sticking out of him, and and they're just like kind of bickering and arguing, and it's like I'm watching TOS or like those movies. I'm like, oh my god, this is great. Like, and Bones is doing stuff like, oh my god, like this is nuts. Or like the bit where Bones is getting transported, he's like, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not and it's like, that's funny because like it works in the context of the movie if you don't know, but if you do know, that's a really great gag. It's so good. Like, it's great. And it's like, and then like I think deciding to have the whole crew at the beginning of the movie and then start pairing them off and then bring them all back together at the end is great. That's a great way to write an ensemble where you have Kirk and fucking Chekhov together, which that they work really well together. And then you do put Uhura and Sulu together so they can kind of not do much, unfortunately. But then you have like Bones and Spock, which is my favorite aspect of the movie. I just love those two bickering at each other. And then you have
it's some of my favorite stuff from the TOS is when they're just being catty with each other.
Yeah, and then you have Scotty. He runs into Sophia Boutella and he just kind of starts hanging out with her. It's like, well, I'd probably do the same thing, so that's fair. And her character. Do you know the whole backstory on like how her character came to be?
No, I do not. I was going to look into this, but tell me. Okay. Tell me more.
So there was an actress in mind for this that they wanted so bad. They wrote this role for her.
Okay. And you're gonna tell me who it is?
I am. And they were like, and this is a very famous actress. She's still very famous. They wanted Jennifer Lawrence, like so bad.
Oh, okay.
But she didn't want to do the prosthetics because she was Mystique already.
Yeah, because she already did Mystique. She doesn't want to do that again.
And so then they ended up getting Sophia Boutella, who like. I still think Sophia Boutella is like super underrated. Like she's been in some fantastic stuff. She'd been in Kingsman by this point, and then she was in this. She's in The Rebel Moons. She's in Climax, which is a fucking insane movie. Highly recommend checking that one out. Not while you're high. Don't do what I did.
Maybe while you're high.
Yeah, but
maybe take some shrooms and watch Climax.
Yeah, it'll. I almost got in an argument with somebody about that movie one time. Maybe I shouldn't talk to you about that on the podcast. I'll save it for later because it was a dumb fucking asshole.
You might have told me about it when it happened.
Yeah, it was very stupid. It's just people who don't appreciate that you can do stuff with cameras in film, which drives me anyway. So Sophia Boutella's character was supposed to be Jayla was supposed to be played by Jennifer Lawrence. That's why her name is Jayla. It's J-Law.
Oh wow, that's very clever.
Yeah.
After I just spent so much time commenting on how much I like this film, it's like, oh yeah, Jayla.
Yeah.
Cool.
But she's a good character though. I love Sophia Boutella in this. I think she's great.
I love Sophia Boutella. But yeah, the character of Jayla is fantastic. And I just think it's really cool that like you have this character who's on this planet and she's got like this staff and she's having to take care of herself and she's scrappy and she's, she helps out the heroes get their ship back together. Oh my God, Caleb, it's Ray.
I didn't even think about that. And it's funny because J.J. Abrams didn't even direct this one.
He didn't know. Did this come out? I mean, this came out before or at the same time as
7 months after.
7 months after, yeah. Well, the way movies are made, this was probably shot around the same time.
Yeah.
Right around there. But it is kind of funny that like there is so much of a there is a lot of similarity between Ray and between this character. And for some reason, this film didn't piss off all the dude bros the same way that Force Awakens did.
Yeah, so. And then it's and I remember they did the same thing in Transformers 5, like the one with Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Hopkins. I think it's Isabella Merced. Actually, I think that's who that is. She's in it and as like the scrappy kind of Ray character who's only in like the beginning of the movie. But I remember people got mad about that.
Why are people mad that like women can do things?
I don't know, it's insane. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, I mean, to not to get political, but like, I think the reason that a lot of men don't want women to do things or don't want women to feel like they can, do certain jobs, certain things, is because they want control over them.
Well, yeah. I think that's true. But no, I mean, yeah, Jayla is a great character, and she looks really cool. The design for Jayla is super dope. I love like she's got like the makeup on her face, and she's got her eyes. I think she's wearing like some contacts, and of course, really great creature design in this. I think the aliens in this film are designed way better than the aliens in the previous film.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about how this movie lost best makeup to Suicide Squad? I mean, I think I may have triggered Caleb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, so the makeup in Suicide Squad, right? So and I want to clarify, if you worked on the makeup design for Suicide Squad, I'm not saying anything bad about you. It is the fucking film. It's like, I had nothing but respect for like the people who actually worked on it, because like, and the makeup in Suicide Squad isn't bad, right? Necessarily. I mean, like, Killer Croc, that kind of looks like a crocodile guy. And like,
sure.
El Diablo, he's got the tattoos. Katana, she's got my back. But like, it's, then, you got Harley in her, kind of clown girl makeup. And then you got the Joker in his, I don't know, man, it's
Juggalo makeup.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't like what, like you compare that to like, Star Trek Beyond, where you have like, Jayla, but then you also have that gorgeous makeup for that woman at the end of the movie with the seashell head that Anton Yelchin is flirting with, and it's like, that's gorgeous, that's great, I love that.
Yeah, and then you have the one, I think she's an NSYNC, I'm not sure, but she's the one with like where like her head like opens up like this.
That's cool as hell.
And that's where they hide the artifact, and then unfortunately they kill her, which is actually pretty sad because she seemed like a cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the makeup and prosthetics work in this film is fucking great, and it's really cool. And like, I'd have to go back and rewatch these movies again. But I think a lot of the alien and creature effects in the first two films, a lot of them are like, if I'm correct, and I could be wrong here, and correct me if I am wrong, but there's a lot of like CGI.
Yep.
For like the creature effects and stuff. And for this one, it's like, a lot of it is practical.
Yeah, no,
which is fucking great. And especially because at that time, this is when you had like the MCU and like everything was CGI. And I think by that point, the Iron Man armor had went from being more practical to now was just all CGI. And it's really refreshing to see a movie like this with a big budget that puts a lot of work into these practical creature effects. I think that's fucking cool.
Yeah, and practical sets.
And practical sets as well. Yeah, that whole scene where Kirk is riding his motorcycle around to save his crew. And again, it's like Kirk is going out of his way to save his crew. Like that's Kirk. That's what Kirk does.
Yeah,
because Kirk is a good captain. He's one of the best.
Yeah, and like, what I also like is like this film does it takes a little bit from Guardians of the Galaxy, I think.
Sure.
Which is fair, because like Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome. Like great trilogy. But like, it's also like, it's the thing is about this film features a scene where they are able to defeat the kind of swarm, because there's this like they have these like kind of a lot of the enemies have these little, like, they're called bees, where there's these little like drilling ships that they're like flying around in space, and they basically swarm you. And they realize that like loud noises, and it's set up great because Sophia Boutella is listening to Fight the Power in her house. And Simon Pegg is like, "Oh, that's loud, lassie. That's crazy." And then she talks about how much she likes like the loud. She explains why she likes music, and it's actually like, it's like kind of simple because but it's really charming. Like, it's how you write characters.
I think she calls it like the beats and the loud.
Yeah.
Or something. Like she has a very it's a very like, clever way that she describes it, and it's like, yeah, that's how an alien probably would describe our music.
Yeah,
especially the music of Public Enemy.
Yeah, and like, so it's like, and it's really cool. And she and so then later, whenever they're using her radio soundtrack stuff, and because they realize that like loud music is gonna, or loud noises is how they're gonna be able to like disrupt the swarm, and they play fucking Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. And I know it's like, if you told me, Caleb, if Justin Lin came up to me and he was like, "Hey, Caleb," who's like 17 at the time we're making this movie, for some reason your opinion matters to me on this. Do you think, or let's just say he asked modern Caleb, this metaphor doesn't really work. Let's say he asked me and he's like, "Oh, like what if like for the Star Trek movie, I'm thinking about a major way to strike a blow to the main villain is to use the song Sabotage by the Beastie Boys." I would go, is it Guardians of the Galaxy? What are we doing? But for whatever fucking reason, in the context of this movie, it fucking works. And when it starts playing, it rocks. And I can't believe I feel it, because I was watching that scene last night and I was like excited. I was like, I love this. This is great. And it's like it works because it's set up properly in the context of the film, and it doesn't feel like it's going, yeah, that's right. And first of all, also great song, obviously, but like it's just like, it doesn't feel like it's trying to not feel like Star Trek. It's like, how can we fit this song and this plot idea in a way that still works in the context of Star Trek? And it's with good writing and setup and payoff. It's not like it just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah, it doesn't happen out of nowhere. And also the way they explain it too. Like the way they explain it within the film makes sense, because like, yeah, that is something that they would like figure out. It's like oh, like they do work as a swarm, maybe there's a way we could disrupt their communication so that we disrupt the swarm, and then they figure out a way to do that. Like that's some shit you'd see on Star Trek, like the TV shows. They probably wouldn't use Sabotage by the Beastie Boys because they may not be able to afford it, but it's cool to see something like that. It's cool to see people in a Star Trek movie like being presented a problem and then figuring it out. And I think that's something that's missing from a lot of the film versions of Star Trek, is like smart people figuring shit out.
Yeah,
because that's what Star Trek is all about. There's a reason why this franchise has inspired so many people to like get into the sciences and get into engineering and pursue those kinds of things, because Star Trek is a celebration of like people who know their shit, people who are smart and educated, and like that's a good thing, right? And it's cool that they did it with like a Beastie Boys track.
Yeah,
that's fun, No,
yeah, exactly. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like it just fucking works. And it's also like a kind of cool callback to the first movie, because that song plays.
Yeah, they made it work.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's like that works really well. So the villain in this movie is Idris Elba.
Yes.
And how do you feel? Because I think for me, I liked his performance a lot, but I think that his origin is really cool. Mm-hmm. But I do wish we gotten a little bit more with him. I don't know what was missing, but I do think in his actual like what he's doing, I would have liked a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked more of Idris Elba. And I mean, hey, listen, if the weakest part of your film is Idris Elba, that's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish there would have been more with him. I do like his backstory a lot. I think his backstory is really great, and it kind of brings it around, to like this whole Starfleet thing. And I think it works well, but yeah, it would have been nice to have a little bit more of him. And, especially like when we get to, Yorktown and we see him as like a normal guy, but yeah, I think it works well.
Yeah. Another thing this film does is it because by the time this film came out, unfortunately Anton Yelchin had just passed away.
Yes, yeah, and Leonard Nimoy as well. Leonard Nimoy had passed.
Yes, and Leonard Nimoy, his death was written into the film. And how do you feel about how they wrapped that up, and how they handled the passing of Leonard Nimoy?
I think they handled it pretty well, with the way that they could. And I mean, listen, I'm gonna sound it's gonna be like really schmaltzy, and I'm gonna sound like I don't know, like a little crybaby or whatever. But at the end, when Spock opens up that box and he sees like the picture of the original crew, I was like, fuck, man, that's cool.
Yeah, like
they brought it all around. Again, is it fan service? Yeah, but it works. It works within the context of this. And I thought they did fine. And it was interesting. It was an interesting thing to add to the character of Spock, who I think in the previous films hadn't been like super fleshed out. This interpretation is to like kind of add that sense of like, oh shit, like my future self died, you know, like that's kind of weird. And that would give anybody in some existential crisis, even if you are a Vulcan.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I thought they did a good job.
Yeah. And it's also like one of those things where like, I think it's very sweet. Like, I think it's nice to just be like, you know, yeah, he passed away, and like, you know, and discussing it in a way that's like, you know, it is respectful. And it's also the thing, like when they show the picture at the end is like, you know, at the time of recording this, like, yeah, you know, William Shatner, Walter Koenig, and George Takei are still with us, but most of the original cast have passed away, unfortunately. You know?
Yeah. Nichelle Nichols passed away a few years after, and yeah, it's weird. It's weird watching these old TV shows and seeing like, oh wow, like these people have passed away.
Yeah.
Right. I know, like watching DS9, like you know, Renee Auberjonois passed away. Michael Piller, who was one of the co-creators, passed away, and I feel like such a huge piece of shit because I'm forgetting the name of the person who played Nog, but you know, he's also passed away, and it's just
I didn't know that.
To like, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
So. Yeah, Aaron Eisenberg, who played Nog, he passed away in 2019.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, yeah, and you know, watching this movie, it's like, yeah, you look at that picture and like, yeah, a lot of those people aren't with us anymore.
Yeah, and,
so,
you know, it's interesting because like Majil Barrett, who, you know, she of course played Lexana Troy, and she was the voice of the computer,
and she was Nurse Chapel.
Of course, sorry, and she's in Star Trek. She passed away in 2008. She's in Star Trek 2009. They use her the computer voice. I'm pretty sure it was archived, or maybe she was able to record it before she passed. But
from what I've read online, apparently there's like just a whole library of a bunch of her recordings, and yeah, people like to point that out when I think it was Britt Marlin, who's like the voice of the computer now. People were like, why not just use Majel Barrett? And I don't know. However you feel about that is how you feel about that, I suppose.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. But, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it is the thing about, you know, especially like Star Trek is such a long running thing where, you know, it started in like, what, 66?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. It's been around for a while.
Yeah. So like that's before my dad was born. So, you know, it's like this thing of like, where it's like, it's, you know, the way that time passes, really, even looking in the context of how Next Generation started, what, like 18, almost 20 years after the original series ended, you know? So it's like, when you look at it that way, you're just like, you know, it's one of those things that is so sad about, you know, life, but it's also, you know, and it's important to like remember these people, and this art is like, you know, like this is a show that came out like, you know, over, you know, almost 60 years ago. And like, yeah, a lot of the person who created it is no longer with us. A lot of the people from the original, you know, whether it be writers or actors, aren't with us anymore. But, you know, the thing that is really amazing about it is that you can still watch and still see them, and you can still appreciate the performances and the art and the vision for it. And that's what's so great about it.
Yeah, and as we live in a time where more and more people are trying to erase the hard work of artists and creative people and replace it with AI bullshit, I think it's more important now than ever to give these people their credit and you know, remember them for the hard work that they did.
Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing is like, I think that, you know, Star Trek has always been about moving forward and about like, you know, having appreciation for people and listening to people and listening to different perspectives, you know, and thinking. You know what I mean? And like, I think that's and I think those are the most important lessons you can take from it, is to like think about situations. Don't act illogically, Captain. You know, I think is, you know, it's good. I think Star Trek rocks, and I'm actually kind of sad that we're done doing the series now.
It's a little bittersweet, you know. Yeah. But hey, you know, we still have plenty of episodes of Deep Space Nine to watch. I still got to finish Voyager. There's more Star Trek coming out, you know, with the Starfleet Academy, which again I hope is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, Star Trek will always be there for us, Caleb. We can always go back and we can experience these stories again and spend time with these characters for another adventure amongst the stars.
Yeah,
a trek, if you will. Right.
And the thing that's interesting is like, so, and I know this podcast is way too fucking long, but I really quick want to say where the Kelvin timeline would have gone if things hadn't if it hadn't stopped here, basically. And now it's just done. Like, they're not going to continue the story anymore. Yeah. But the original plan was they were going to bring back Chris Hemsworth for some time travel shenanigans.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that would have made sense or fit well?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And so there's that, where it's like, that's kind of interesting. I think it was going to be written by the dude who created like Fargo and Legion, whose name is escaping me right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and like that would have been really, and Alien Earth also, which I would have really loved to. I would still love to see what he would do with Star Trek. At one point, they were going to do a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie, but he was probably too busy being an asshole to do anything with that.
He was just seething about Paul Dano. He was like,
he's not going to be in it. He's not going to be in it, man. With that being said, Paul Dano should be in Star Trek at some point, please.
I would love if Paul Dano was in Star Trek. We've talked about this a little bit, like, off the podcast, but like, there's just those actors who you're just like, I want to see them in a Star Trek. Yeah. And I think Paul Dano's definitely one of them.
Yeah. No, he's great. And it's like, so there is that, like, and we are apparently getting a new Star Trek movie is being written right now. That's it's going to be totally different. I guess it's going to be in a totally different era than we've seen before or something, but it's written by the guys who wrote the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Yeah,
which I just saw recently for the first time, and I quite liked it. I thought it was very charming.
Very good, yeah. So, and but Anthony, before we leave, before we trek back amongst the stars, I have a really important question to ask of you.
Sure.
If I remind let's start. This is just a goofy little end segment. Is what Star Trek character do I remind you the most of?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Who do you remind me?
Because I have a really good one for you.
Okay, well, who do I remind you of?
It's like I think it works and it makes. And not that you guys are the exact same person, but I think O'Brien is probably the closest.
Okay.
Because I think that you're a scrappy Irishman who really cares. I think it's because he's a hard worker and he's very and he cares about his field and he's a union man.
Well, I am very pro-union, so cool. I remind you of O'Brien. Who do you remind me of? I don't.
Lwaxana Troi.
Maybe Lwaxana Troi. I was gonna say Dr. Bashir.
Oh,
but later on when he's not like weird and creepy.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Dr. Bashir, like season 3 and onward.
Is it because he seems autistic?
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of autistic characters in Star Trek.
Yeah, every single one.
Yeah, every single character is gay and autistic in Star Trek.
Like the X-Men.
And just like the X-Men, everyone's gay and autistic. I was talking to a coworker of mine about the X-Men and like the difference between like the X-Men and the Avengers. Mm-hmm. And Fantastic Four, and how like the Avengers are co-workers and the Fantastic Four are family, and the X-Men are are like gay theater kids who are all in a polycule.
I mean, I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, and I think that's what Star Trek is as well. Star Trek is a bunch of like gay autistic theater kids. and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in an insulting way. I'm saying that because that's cool.
Yes.
So yes, we love that it's for that it's for gay autistic people.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else we want to say before we end this this captain's log and go on to our next adventure?
If you've listened to this and you're not super familiar with Star Trek or you haven't watched a lot of other Star Trek, there is literally so much goddamn Star Trek shit out there. You will find something you like. So go explore. Go find something interesting. If it seems interesting, you don't worry about canon, timelines, continuity at all. If you fucking see, it's like comic books. If you see something that seems fucking interesting to you, go to it. Go towards it and go towards it in the Deep Space Nine direction. But go towards it.
Exactly. Yeah. Go watch Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Exactly.
Go watch some Star Trek. Or read it. Exactly. This has been our Star Trek series. Really quickly, just some quick announcements. First of all, we're going to be going on a winter break So we'll be back end of January with a new batch of episodes. If you're listening to us on Spotify or like Amazon Podcasts or Google Podcasts or whatever have you, first of all, cancel your Spotify. And then once you do that, look us up on YouTube, because Viva Film is now on YouTube, and you can listen to us and watch us. And subscribe and leave us some ratings. With all that being said, I mean, that's it, Caleb, right? Like, happy holidays, happy New Year.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, don't let the bastards get you down.
Don't let the bastards get you down, and live long and prosper. Yeah. We'll see y'all next time, folks.
Good night.